Hey, what you're seeing right here is $60,000. Did you know that $60,000 is the average profit on a flip? Actually, it's not. And this isn't really $60,000. This is fake money. But let's talk about flipping. Hey guys, if we're just meeting, my name is Vitaly Volpov. I'm a practicing attorney, an active real estate investor, and a part owner of a real estate brokerage in Albany, New York. On this channel, I discuss relevant legal concepts as well as best strategies and tips for real estate investing. So is flipping houses worth it for beginners? My answer is no. Now before you go clicking out of this video or leaving me hate comments, just hear me out on this. I don't have anything against flipping houses. In fact, there are a lot of real estate investors that are very successful that are doing it full time. My point is simply that if you're brand new and you're just starting out in real estate and you're looking for a strategy to follow, I don't think that flipping houses should be at the top of your list. So let me explain. And hey, if after you listen to my explanation you still want to get into flipping houses, watch until the end of the video where I'll give you a strategy that you can follow to hopefully make a profit on your first flip and learn something in the process. Let's first talk about the profit margins involved in flipping houses. If you've been around the internet for any period of time, you may have seen some YouTube ads or Facebook ads or even news articles that talk about the average profit on a flip.
Did you know the average profit on a flip is $60,000?
You may have seen numbers like $60,000 or $70,000 or even $80,000 per flip. And if they were true, those numbers would be amazing. Just think about it. You could do 2 flips a year and you can make 6-figure income. Of course, the problem with this is that it's not reality. Most people do not make that much money on flips. So where does the $60,000 number come from? Well, there are research companies out there that compile and analyze real estate data from across the country. One of those companies is Atom Data Solutions. And what they did is they took sales of houses that sold twice in a 12-month period, determined that those sales were flips, and then they took the purchase price, subtracted it from the sale price, and averaged it across all of those sales to arrive at the average gross profit on a flip. Now, it doesn't take an economics degree to realize that the gross profit is not the actual take-home profit on a flip. The reason is that it doesn't include any expenses whatsoever. So what expenses are there with an average flip? Let's look at a specific example. Let's say you buy a house for $100,000 and you end up selling it for $160,000. The difference between those two numbers will be your gross profit. So what expenses are you going to have on that profit? Well, first, you're going to probably have some financing costs. Because most people aren't going to have $100,000 plus lying around to invest in a flip, they're likely going to have to borrow that money. Since most flips are distressed properties that require a lot of work, you're likely not going to be able to get that money from a regular bank. So what most people do is they go to a hard money lender. But hard money lenders charge much higher interest rates and they also charge very high points. Points are just prepaid interest where 1 point is 1% of the total loan amount. Range of interest rates for hard money loans is somewhere between 10% and 16%. Also, hard money lenders will charge you somewhere between 0 and 6 points on a particular loan. The specific interest and points will vary depending on how risky the deal is and how risky the borrower is. The more rehab it needs, the higher the interest rate will be, the higher the points will be, and the worse someone's credit and financial background is, the higher the interest rates will be and the higher the points will be. So let's say for our example that you're able to get a 12% interest rate, this will be an interest-only loan, of $100,000. And let's also say that the hard money lender is going to charge you 4 points up front. And let's say that this rehab is going to take you 6 months to complete from start to finish. So you're looking at $6,000 in interest and an additional $4,000 in points on this $100,000 loan. So we have to take the $10,000 right off the top of your profit. So what other costs do you have? Well, you also have closing costs. You're going to have closing costs on the buy side and the sale side. You're going to have attorney's fees, both on the buy side and the sell side. You're also going to have to pay a mortgage tax on the purchase, and you're going to have to pay a transfer tax or a deed stamp tax or whatever it's going to be called in your jurisdiction on the sale side. Additionally, you're going to have some recording fees, and you're also going to need title insurance on the buy side. And then on the sales side, you're also likely going to have commissions that you have to pay out in order to complete the sale. Now, with regard to commissions, one thing you can do in order to offset your expenses, you can get your own real estate license. Now, I'm not going to get too much into whether it makes sense to get your real estate license in this video. That's a topic for another video. But in my opinion, I think that's a good idea. So altogether, you're probably looking at another $10,000 for all the closing costs, both on the buy side and the sell side. So you have to take that off the top as well. So what other costs are you going to have? Well, you're also going to have carrying costs. And in those, I'm going to include your taxes, your insurance, your utilities, water, sewer, any HOA fees, or any other special assessments in your jurisdiction. On a $160,000 house in upstate New York, you're probably looking at another $5,000 in carrying costs over the course of 6 months. So let's take that right out. So what are you left with? Well, you still have $35,000 sitting in front of you. Great, right? Well, wait. We still haven't accounted for the biggest expense there is with flipping houses. That's right, the rehab cost. And this is where most beginners make the biggest mistake. They fail to properly estimate rehab costs. Rehab costs can vary anywhere from a few $1,000s to tens of thousands of dollars. And it all depends on the condition of your property and the types of amenities that are required in that area in order to sell that property for the price you want to sell it for. So the question is, does your property look like this? Or does it look like this? If it's the first one, be prepared to spend more than $35,000. If it's the second one, well, maybe you can get away with $20,000. And just as an example, I just want to show you one of the current flips that one of our wholesale clients is doing right now. This is a 1,000 square foot, 2-bedroom, 2-bath house that required minimal rehab. Our client added a couple of walls to create a new bedroom, added a few doors, he redid some flooring, did a little bit of electrical, a little bit of plumbing, painting, refinishing the cabinets, and doing a little work on the outside, including some siding work and a new porch. The total cost to him, in order to do all of this work, will end up being about $20,000. $20,000 is really easy to spend on a flip. In fact, that's probably the minimum you're going to spend on most flips unless they're really in pristine condition. And if you make any mistakes in estimating the rehab or you run into any issues, then you're probably going to end up spending a lot more than $20,000. But let's say in our example, we're going to end up spending $20,000. So what does that leave us with? Well, that leaves us with $15,000. Still not bad, right? But wait, that's not all going into our pockets. We still have to pay taxes on this money. House flipping profits are taxed at your regular income tax rates. They do not qualify for short-term capital gains, and they don't qualify for long-term capital gains. In addition, you're also going to have to pay self-employment tax on this income. So combine that with the federal income tax and the state income tax, you're looking at least a third of your profit going away to taxes. So if you buy an average deal, you do an average rehab, and you end up with average results, you're going to have at most $10,000 profit after 6 months of work. And if you made any mistakes, which if you're a brand new investor, you're probably going to make, you're not looking at a $10,000 profit, you're looking at a loss. So this is why I'm saying that flipping houses is probably not the best strategy for first-time real estate investors. There are just too many things that could go wrong, and there are too many things that you have to get right in order to make any kind of substantial profit. You need to get financing, you need to find the right property at the right price, and estimate the rehab costs correctly and the after repair value correctly. You then also have to find good contractors, manage a rehab, and then turn around and sell the property after you're done. And if anything goes wrong and you make one mistake with any one of those factors, you're going to be losing money. And some of these factors are not even within your control. What if the economy goes bad? What if something happens in your local market and all of a sudden houses are no longer selling for the price that you wanted to sell yours for? What are you going to do? You're going to be stuck. You have short-term financing. If it's a single family, you have very little ability to turn that property into a rental that will make you a profit. And the only way you can make money is by selling that property. To me, that just sounds way too risky. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this video, do me a favor. Hit the like button and consider subscribing. It takes a long time to put these videos together, and I definitely would appreciate your support. And it'll also help out with the YouTube algorithm. So back to the topic of, is it worth it to flip houses if you're just a beginner? And like I said, to me, it's just way too much risk and way too much opportunity to make mistakes. But if you're still dead set on flipping houses, here's what I would recommend. First, try to learn everything you can about the business. Watch YouTube videos, read blog posts, and read a few books. Two books that I highly recommend are the book on flipping houses and the book on estimating rehab costs, both by Jay Scott. I'll link them down in the description below so you can check those out if you want to. My next suggestion is that you go out and find a local flipper in your area who's been doing it for a long time and who's been very successful at it. If you don't know any flippers like that, I would suggest joining a local real estate group and try to network with people there. Once you find someone like that, you need to try to learn from them and see what they do. But don't just go up to them and say, hey, can you teach me about flipping houses? That's not going to work. They're just going to look at you funny. They're going to think you're some weird guy looking for free advice. No, what you need to do is you need to give them value. Now, I'm not talking about buying a course from them or paying them tens of thousands of dollars for coaching lessons. That's not how you do it. What you should do is you should give them either your time, your efforts, or your skills if you have any that apply to their business. You need to help them with some aspect of their business in exchange for which they'll be willing to give you some information and some knowledge. But don't expect to get paid and don't think that this is just going to happen overnight. Most people work with people who they know, like, and trust. So you really need to become that person for that house flipper. If you can become a friend, if you can become someone who they can rely on and you can prove yourself, they'll be more willing to share some of that information with you and hopefully help you succeed as a house flipper yourself. The last tip, and really the best one, is if you can, try to partner with them on a deal. You may have to bring the deal to them, you may also have to get your own financing, and you may have to offer them a large piece of the profit in exchange for their knowledge and information. But if it's going to really help you out at the end of the day and help you do your own deals in the future, I think you should definitely do it. So with that said, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys haven't done it already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so that YouTube notifies you of all my future uploads. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.